This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff, but no Nate or Sam tonight, but with Alex.
That's me. Back in action. I mean, I guess I was back for the betting show, but back in main show action.
Back in the main show action. Today is Monday, November 27th. Quick, is there a fire alarm? Do we need to vacate? Are we allowed to come back? Are we allowed to come back for the show?
We're allowed to come
Putting
back
our
to
lives in danger?
We're allowed to come back to the studio.
To the studio. For is if everybody did not know, this was the red zone the red zone issue today on Sunday during the games. Good.
Jim,
good.
Any words? I was giving you kind of a chance to speak there if you wanted to.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, the sky's falling in Columbus. I forgot to mention that.
It's
fallen. There's an issue.
He was mentally preparing that he was going to have to talk about it.
Was that a reset, Jim? Were you just like in Zen yoga?
I was just waiting for
centering?
that. I was waiting
Jim
for
is
that.
not getting himself worked up because he's working on his health, and I can condone that.
Yep, not getting juiced up over it.
Well, I can say there was a game on Saturday, and it lived up to the billing of the game, but unfortunately, a university from Ohio did not come out victorious.
That's true. That happened.
Jim, I would like you to describe your feelings in 4 words or less.
He just did. That's true. That happened.
Soft quarterback sucks.
Ooh, a lot of blame on one player.
Well,
not the guy in the Louis V who got called out after the game.
The soft is for the team in general. I'm not Maserati Marv. I think he's the only person that shouldn't be called soft, but for the rest of them, soft applies.
So I'm curious, is this win 1000 for Michigan, since all of the Ohio State haters or the Michigan haters wanted to say, oh, that one doesn't count. So they want the 1000th win to be against Ohio State. Is that the standard we're putting up?
That is what happened.
Ouch. Guys should have just took that 1000 and said, we'll be 1001.
Yeah.
I respect the fact that you understand that you have to have it one way or the other.
It just is what it is. You take what you dish out.
We'll get into more on that later. Thanksgiving. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Got into all the turkey, the size, all the things you wanted. If you are a fan of food, carbs, and late afternoon naps.
And Dolly Parton.
Yes, there were halftime shows in Thanksgiving Day NFL football, and the internet was abuzz.
And that was not a hologram. That was legit Dolly.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Jack Harlow.
Oh, hopefully that was a hologram because that one was not good.
Yikes.
It's not even that I don't like him.
That
just show is not great.
Not
Dolly,
good.
on the other hand.
Dolly had the internet abuzz.
Big Dolly fan.
Some great costuming and great surgeon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's been forever, though.
She admits that, too. So let's not.
That's a good job. Kudos to him.
For 77, kudos to her. Could you imagine being 77 and getting out there like that?
No.
Would?
No.
Jim says no. Alex would.
I would not.
Would not. We had our first block on YouTube, thanks to last week's SNL segment that only the people who listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all of those platforms got to take in. So thanks, SNL, the writer's strike back in full effect.
But it also means that somebody who cares watched our video and found it.
Or the algorithm found it.
Yeah, we're going to go somebody who cares. Somebody who cares.
So this is your opportunity to make sure that you connect with us on all those platforms. Remember, you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts to listen to on the daily. You can also catch us on YouTube, sportsstuff.w/Jim Muff, and on the socials at SportsJimMuff on Instagram and Twitter, and sportsstuff.w/Jim Muff on the Facebooks. Do all the action verbs.
Get the bell on, like
ding,
tickle
ding.
poke. Those
Tickle
things.
bell.
Okay. And that'll bring us right into the NFL, starting with Thursday, Thanksgiving Day football. And it's not Thanksgiving until the Lions lose, and lose they did to the Packers 29-22. Jack Harlow's underwhelming halftime show. Alex, were you a fan?
No.
I didn't even watch it. I think I was eating at this time.
Even my dad was like, he's like, I don't like that kind of music. He's like, so I don't really know what the standard is. He goes, but that was terrible all around. I was like, that was bad.
The set was about like a 20th of the field.
That's what, yeah. He's like, it was just like, if you're going to do this halftime show in the first one of the day, like, do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it right.
I feel like they missed a lot. I mean, they screwed up the whole turkey situation.
So what happened with the turkey things? I did miss that.
So who's the announcer?
Greg Olson.
Greg Olson was supposed to just show
G-Rag
off
with his third leg.
He was just supposed to show off the turkey. And instead he like mauled the thing, and therefore there was no turkey left.
Oh, but Jim, there was.
Okay.
There was a third turkey that had the Detroit Lions logo seared on it because that's who they expected to win. So obviously they couldn't use that. So that was why there's always 3 turkeys, they said, or an extra turkey.
It makes
the extra one got to Greg.
It makes you feel good about the whole NFL fix thing. If they were expecting the Lions to win and they didn't, then
there was 3 turkeys: Green Bay, Detroit, and a regular turkey.
I thought it was 2 regulars and a Lion.
Well, if there was a Green Bay one, Jim, then why didn't they have it?
Because that's the one Greg messed up.
Well, then why didn't they just give him the one that didn't have the Green Bay one?
I don't know. That didn't make any sense either. But you said there were 3, so I was like,
I'm saying I think there's typically 3. I can only account for 2. There's no magic turkey anywhere that I'm aware of.
Magic turkey.
All right, let's move past this. This is too much. Where's the turkey?
Cowboys 45, Commanders 10 in the second game. There were turkey legs abound for this one, even though they weren't given out by the broadcast, as they dug deep into the Salvation Army pot to pull out them turkey legs for the boys. Deron Bland made NFL history with his 6th picks, 6 of the season.
That's an impressive stat that went under the radar.
Historic.
Yeah,
there are only 13 wide receivers right now that have more touchdowns than Bland in the league.
I was super mad because I saw that bet on FanDuel, and I was like, how are they just going to put this on here? And I didn't really put together the significance. And then I watched him, and I was like, son of a bitch, I should have played that.
Put that in perspective. Rod Woodson, who leads the NFL, had 12 pick sixes in his career. Deion Sanders had 9 in his entire career.
Crazy.
Still time to come. Only 11 games in.
Right.
The halftime show was way better. So that was good. The game sucked. The halftime show was better.
Dollar was working 9 to 5 on Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
My family listened to it for volume. My pap said, wow, she's got some glittery legs. It was great.
Of all
Pap
the things, that's what Pap noticed, huh?
That was when I learned something about my pap. That's what he was checking out in that moment.
He was a leg man.
Yep. We now know.
Good on him.
All right, Pap. And in the final game of the Thanksging Day slate, we had the 49ers dominating the Seahawks 31-13. Put everyone to bed.
Yep.
Yeah, that was.
I fell asleep during it, to be honest.
That was bad. Bad.
It was not the best performance by the Seahawks, but the 49ers did what they were supposed to do. Right? They came out and took care of the business. Moving into Black Friday on Amazon Prime. It's the first ever Black Friday game. Guys, did you know it was the first ever Black Friday game? And it was on Amazon Prime.
I couldn't even find it.
It was on Amazon Prime.
But I mean, like, I was like, what do I do? I want to see this game. And I was like, I wonder if it's on the Prime. And I was like, why is Prime Friday? Okay. It was very confusing for that location of it. But I get it. It's an Amazon thing.
This was not in your face for the past 2 weeks.
No.
It was the first ever Black Friday game on Amazon Prime.
Saw nothing. Maybe I'm living under a rock.
Yeah, I think he might have been.
But yeah, I didn't even know.
So this one had a crazy play to end of the first half that actually, not for any of us, at least this specific play, had any betting ramifications. But the Right, the Jets kicked what they do. They threw up a long pass. The Dolphins got it at the goal line and ran it back when the Jets could have just kneeled on it, could have attempted a field goal, could have done all sorts of things. And the Dolphins get it and run it back 99 yards for the touchdown, which put like team totals over. I think first half totals over. There's a lot that was going on there. It's pretty interesting. And then we had another Achilles. Achilles bites the dust in this one.
And so, for those who may be grabbing a hold of the podcast, how many Achilles have gone down this season? Achilles tendon for
I think
those.
we're at like 6 or 7, it seems like. I might be exaggerating, but that's what it feels like.
I think 6 is a good number there. I think I agree with
And
that.
we've got at least Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers. You had running back used to be at Ohio State,
J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins. This Dolphins player.
If someone else, Kirk, you said Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I said Kirk.
Maybe we're at 4.
Well, this is high profile, right? There may still be others. We're just not
Mhm.
recognizing them. So right, this was at MetLife, right? We expect that MetLife was an issue. Didn't look like MetLife was an issue on this one. Just looked like it happened on the get off. It was just a freak thing.
I don't know, Muff.
I don't know how the turf
I
gets
say
somebody
the
on their
turf
get
grabbed a hold
off.
of him.
It
The turf
didn't grab a
grabbed
hold
him.
of him. The turf didn't grab him, his lower heel, and pull it back towards the earth, Jim, when it was off the ground. That was gravity if you're going to get anything in there.
I think the turf got him. I'm blaming the turf.
Jim's going to blame the turf. Do you think it's going to make any difference, Jim?
No.
Okay. Dolphins do what they got to do. They win 34-13. Moving into Sunday football. Sunday. First, we have the Falcons beating the Saints 24-15. Bijan Robinson got a couple touchdowns in this one. Surprise, surprise. Everybody just put him on the bench for their fantasy football teams, and look what happens.
Yeah.
Are we at the Saints game? I'm sorry. My bartender came in and gave me a drink. Are we at the Saints game? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. And I did have Bijan Robinson on my fantasy bench.
Chris Olave, I had a bet on. He was going off and then got a concussion. 116 yards and a concussion.
What was your bet?
I think I went crazy and tried to get him to get 2 touchdowns.
This pregame or live?
Pregame.
Yeah.
But if I was throwing, I hit yesterday on a parlay, so I was throwing caution to the wind. Free money in my mind.
Obviously, Ohio State wasn't in that parlay.
They were. I got Travion and Maserati Marv on anytime. Won like $15.
Big money, big spender.
Yeah, buddy.
Moving in to the second game, we're going to chat about the Steelers beat the Bengals 16-10 in a week that the Steelers fired Matthew Canada. They proceed to have their first 400-plus yard effort in just under 60 games, which included Canada's entire tenure as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, that's a bad look for Matty Ice.
Oh, my goodness.
I watched
to me, it says you made the right choice.
I watched the third and fourth quarters. Pickett didn't look bad at all.
No,
like he looked like he had his head together.
Jalen Warner.
Najee, good game.
He had 99 and a touchdown.
And a touchdown.
Yeah, Jalen Warner was talking about it after him. He's like, I'm going to say this without, like, basically in the most respectful way I possibly can. We actually took more risks or something. I don't remember exactly.
It's basically pretty much that. He's like, I don't know how to say this without being mean, but
he was like, it was kind of funny.
We threw the ball down the field where we typically wouldn't.
Yes, he was like trying to couch the blow.
Yeah. It looked like the Steelers had their shit together today. On the other side of the ball, the Bengals.
Wow. Yeah. I mean,
Wolf.
QB2, it's number one. Let's just be real honest. QB2 is an issue. It's going to be an issue for them.
But do you think that sends a message to the ownership? Like, we have to protect this guy because we suck without him?
I mean, it should. I'm not going to say that it will.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What do you think the odds are that they take a stance and protect their guy?
Flip a coin, Jim. Flip a coin.
50-50, he says. Okay. All right.
TBD. Deontay Johnson is getting cooked, absolutely roasted on the internet for not giving a flying fuck about a running play that he wasn't involved in. Then there was a fumble to which he wasn't even paying attention.
Oh, I missed that part.
And it was recovered pretty much right around him as he started to walk back towards where the huddle should be.
Oh,
A play after, a touchdown was nullified by the booth after replay.
so we're thinking he threw a pissy fit.
He definitely was not engaged in that moment. That I can tell you.
Gotcha. Well, good thing you won. Did you hear about that?
Alex, thoughts? Do you see this?
I did not see the Deontay Johnson play. I missed the whole first half of the game. So,
Oh, I didn't even see this in game.
No,
Wasn't
yeah, no, I didn't see the video either afterward, to be honest, with work. But,
oh, don't go too far because I'm gonna send this to you. Jim, can you talk about the next game real quick?
Titans at Panthers. Titans win 17-10. Owner, Mr. Tepper, not happy as he's seen coming out of the locker room screaming, fuck. My question is, and I thought about this when I saw this report. He's 1-7, I think. What week are we on?
This is week 11.
1-10. 1-11.
Or 1-9, depending on.
Right. So if that helps you get your draft picks, you move up. I don't think I'd be upset at this point.
I don't know. It depends on me. I'm still not going to want to throw a game.
I'm not saying throw it. I knew you were going to go there. What I'm saying is, if you lost, why come out of there mad? Like, there's a bright side to it.
Well, Tepper is also very involved in, like, with Frank Reich. Like, he goes and like breaks down the game and like talks to Frank Reich about the game and the game plan and the tape. Like, they have discussions about this. This is not a typical owner coach relationship. So he is more invested, at least with his time, in the facility than I think most owners are, unless you're like Jim Irsay, which we'll get to in a second.
I mean, it's not like you lost an opportunity at the college football playoffs and a national championship and a Big Ten title. Like, calm down, bud.
Oh, you're telling, not that you or this person, but you might be. You're going to tell somebody to calm down after a loss.
Yeah. New Jim.
The same person who couldn't watch some of the other games because he was worried about what it could do to his health.
I was, yeah. Absolutely.
Speaking of gyms that may have problems in the past, potentially in the future with their health, the Colts take down the Bucs 27-10. Jim Irsay kept the roof open, which is typically a good sign for the Colts and their prospects for a game, and doesn't like anybody on First Take right now.
He took some punches that he shouldn't have taken on that show. That guy came for his throat.
Well, the reason, right? We'll break down the reason that discussion happened on First Take is during a conversation about Irsay's 2014 arrest, which we all know was for a little bit of the nose candy. Mm-hmm. He was having a discussion. I don't even know who the interview was with. I'm being very honest. I just pulled this quote. I just know this was from a discussion about this arrest that is more recent. Jim Irsay said, and I quote, "I'm prejudiced against because I'm a rich white billionaire." Goes on to say, if I'm just the average guy down the block, they're not pulling me in, of course. Do we think Jim needs to check himself on his statement? And was First Take in any way, I'm not going to say right because it's their job, so they're always going to say that they're right, but did they take it too far on First Take?
I think his statement, he needs better wording, but this is Jim Irsay. Mm-hmm. So, like, I think he's saying, if he could say I was targeted because they knew I had money, I was a celebrity, that's what they do, I think a lot more people would be like, oh, yeah, maybe. But I think the guys on First Take, they went in too far. Like, and maybe it's, we all just kind of assume Jim Irsay, like, look at Jim Irsay, whale-loving cokehead you are. But like,
former that we're aware of.
Yeah.
Although this week has made people question.
Maybe we're all too nice to him. I don't know, but that seemed aggressive on the show.
Alex, did you get into any of this?
I didn't get. I mean, yes, I saw it. I didn't. Not enough to really super comment.
Okay.
But what brought it up, I guess? Do you know, like, what brought
He
up
was doing a conversation interview, a sit down with somebody, and the conversation of their arrest came
I
up.
guess that's what I mean. Like,
And
why?
yeah, I don't know what the exact question that prompted this response was.
Yeah, or like,
but it had to do with that arrest.
Yeah, why even bring up the arrest, I guess, is my question.
Well, I think to get this kind of reaction.
Yeah, let's talk more about Lolita the whale and the good he's done.
Well, Lolita passed, Alex.
Well,
Lolita didn't even
he
make
tried.
it.
He tried, damn it.
He was trying. Takate, aka Lolita. There was an attempt there. All right, Jim, this I'll move on after this. Jim is one of like the last of the guard when you're
Jim
talking
Irsay.
about this owner. Yeah, Jim Irsay.
Not me.
No, not Jim. Well, you're last of some guard. I don't know what.
Yeah.
We can decide that later. But he's like the last of like the ownership groups.
No, wait, there's a lot of this.
There aren't many more families, and there aren't many more families that are outspoken like Jim Irsay about the NFL and the good and the bad. So take that for what you will.
Yeah.
The Giants take down the Patriots 10-7. That's it. Tommy DeVito gets another win.
Back to
Saquon Barkley, 49 yards. Do you know why I know that?
Because you had him on a parlay or had on something.
Yeah, had him to get 50.
Oh, trust me, you were preaching to the choir with Muff this week. I lost $600 on a parlay. No, I did. Wait, let me rephrase that. I did not lose it. I lost.
I did not win.
I lost $5. No, I lost actually no dollars because I got it back in bonus bet. But I did not win $600 because Romeo Dobbs did not get 3 more receiving yards. I hit like 9 legs of a parlay except for that. 3 yards.
That sucks.
It was. Alex not very happy about it when we were texting each other a little bit today.
Was not.
The Patriots, right? Mac Jones got benched again, 4th time this year. Had 2 interceptions in the first half, and I think we have to question right now what's going on in New England.
Yeah, it's shit's hitting the fan. I think Bailey Zappi, it's his time to shine.
Right?
And no question he starts next week.
Should. Right? I think
go ahead. Bill Parcells will be the next coach at Ohio State if you ask the
they won't want him.
Yeah, you're right.
They right. He's not good enough.
Yeah.
Look at his last season in the NFL.
He's not an Ohio boy.
He's not for us. We don't want him.
Right.
He won't let the kids dance on the sidelines.
Hashtag bring Urban back.
I
was kidding. I said hashtag bring Urban.
I'm going to save that for later.
Okay.
Oh God, if there is an actual campaign to do this, we've hit a new low in college sports. I think the Patriots have lost their last 2 or 3 games while their defense has given up 10 or less points in each game. The offense is the problem, people. I think we've identified it.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Jaguars beat the Texans 24-21. CJ Stroud wasn't able to lead a last-minute comeback, but still a good effort by the Texans and the Jags.
He tried too.
Quality team.
I never thought that this would be a good game.
Missed the field goal to tie it.
Mm-hmm.
So he tried to march him back. He looks damn good.
I agree.
But I'm not just saying that as a homer. Like I'm saying, like he looks good. I would have never said he was that good.
Coming out because you didn't claim him.
I did not like him at Ohio State. But
now we're okay with him after a loss. We want to point this out.
Best believe I'll take him back right now.
We didn't like him then, but power forward. Now we got a problem. People.
He has to find something Ohio to make him happy this week. It's CJ Stroud.
That's right. Give it to me. Yeah.
All right. Jags get the win. Right. This is good.
Yeah,
this is a good win for them.
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything bad about the Texans, so I think this is good for both teams in the end.
Yeah,
not great that the Texans got the loss, but I think it's at least a loss that they can go back and learn something from and improve upon, and say, you know what, we lost to a team that's most likely a playoff team. Good for us. Broncos beat the Browns 29-12. Broncos not sneaky anymore.
Nope,
well, the quarterback for the Browns got hurt.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett hurt his arm. This would have been a little bit more competitive had those injuries not happened.
DTR got hurt?
Yes. He got popped in the face.
Yeah.
I watched a good bit of this game on Red Zone. It was pretty frequently on. And the Browns did not look like the Browns. Like they were trying to do weird, fancy stuff. And it was not, they threw a lot. Like they kind of got away from their
ground and pound.
Yeah, and I think if
Yeah.
they'd have stuck with it, they'd have probably at least gotten closer.
Yeah, I agree with
The
all that.
Broncos have started to click along, but they shot themselves in the foot a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Next we have the Rams taking on the Cardinals, 37-14. The Rams continue to stay right at that mediocrity line.
Yeah, that happened. Yeah.
The Cardinals lose another one.
Yeah.
Don't know if there's a lot of surprises here.
So I didn't realize this. So Kyler Murray, they were saying, has had a running touchdown and a passing touchdown, and I don't remember the number of games, but it's like the only person who's had more was like Dante Culpepper. But I guess I didn't realize how rare it was for quarterbacks to have passing touchdowns and rushing touchdowns in a game.
In the same game, yeah.
Yeah.
When you're talking like Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, like contemporary, there's the names you would expect.
Yeah, and I feel like even they don't have as many as him though.
Probably.
Like I'm pretty sure it's like him and Dante Culpepper at the top.
Wow.
Just weird.
All right.
Weird stat. I didn't really understand. We're surprised by.
Yeah. Chiefs 31, Raiders 17.
The Raiders didn't even stand a chance here.
I mean, they were up. They were up early.
Start. They were up 14-0.
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't have a chance.
They stood a chance.
I mean, they didn't do anything after that, obviously, but
Kelsey doesn't score. I know that because
it's also part of a parlay.
Did
he
like have a good game? I think he still had a decent game. He still scored a touchdown.
Game, didn't score. Yeah.
I had him and Devontae Adams were both hung me high and dry on a parlay. So
they'll get you.
Putties.
Chiefs win.
I don't think the Chiefs make the Super Bowl.
Who do you think is the AFC representative then?
I don't have a good answer for you right this second, but I don't think it's the Chiefs.
Do you think it's the Bills?
Do
you think it's the Ravens?
No, it's Steelers.
Alex has put that forward.
I can see the Ravens catching the Chiefs. I can see that happening.
All right. And then the last game of the afternoon slate, the Bills took on the Eagles, and Jake Elliott of the Eagles hits a 59-yard field goal with 20 seconds left to send the game to overtime, where the Bills strike first, getting a field goal. But remember, the overtime rules allow the Eagles to then get the ball back, and they take advantage, scoring a touchdown by Jalen Hurts on his feet to put this one away and win the game 37-34.
Communication issues were a problem in that last drive for the Bills. The offensive coordinator and Josh Allen have both made comments to that effect. In my opinion, the Bills look good, but they're still missing that something. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the coordinator. I don't know. But it still didn't look right.
Bills look good, but not good enough.
Yeah.
I think is what this like boils down to is the Bills always look okay, but they're not good enough.
Yeah.
The Eagles pull out another one. I haven't seen any like clips of Sirianni saying anything fun after the game.
That'll be tomorrow.
I hope that we find it because it's always entertaining. Yeah, so good on the Eagles, on the Bills. And in Sunday night football, we've got the Ravens taking on the Chargers. 3-0 Chargers at the moment.
Hold your breath.
Hold your breath. Why? Because they can't hold a lead?
Yep.
If you hold your breath for as long as the Chargers will hold a lead, you only have to hold your breath for a minute?
Yep.
Okay. And in Monday Night Football, we have the Bears taking on the Vikings in a important game for the Vikings.
It's just an anticlimactic game for me.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. I mean, I'll still watch it.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the only football game on. So.
Of course I'm going to watch it. All right. Any other interesting news in football, gents?
Not from the NFL.
In the NFL. Which just brings us into
college football breakdown.
Oh my God.
Is it the one where Jim's depressed?
Most severely depressed. Not only is college football coming to an end, but he doesn't have a game to watch this week. Oh,
right, exactly.
Oh my God. He's got to watch other people play.
The last 2 years were funny to me to be like, ha ha ha, you lost the game. This year, I genuinely feel bad for him. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I would be crushed.
We'll get to that here in a second. Let's run through the other games.
Okay.
Maryland beats Rutgers 42-24 in a score that I never thought would happen. I thought this would be close, but Rutgers is Rutgers. So, yeah. Wisconsin.
Rutgers is Rutgers.
Yeah.
You're flip-flopping on Rutgers now too. You're like, Shiano's gritty. Like, good things.
He is gritty. I thought that game would be a lot closer. But 42-24, good night.
Oh, yeah, it's not good. I agree.
That's bad poop. All right. Wisconsin beats Minnesota 28-14. Is this Fleck his last hurrah at Minnesota? Will they fire him?
I haven't heard any clamoring, but again, you don't hear much clamoring in the Big Ten if you're not any of the big guys, if you don't live in those areas. So what do we think about the first year in Madison for Fickle?
It's about what I expected. He hit expectations for me.
Okay. It is what it is. I don't think we're going to ride the wave for a year or two with him before he establishes anything.
I was just going to say that I think Fickle's the kind of guy that needs a little bit of time to get his system.
And he's got to get his people in there too.
Yeah.
So, well, he'll come to Ohio State. Who knows? All right. Northwestern over Purdue 45-43. Muff wants to make the case.
I want to make this case. Northwestern head coach David Braun as Big Ten Coach of the Year.
I mean,
let's think about this. Can Jim Harbaugh be that guy?
No, but his assistant can.
No.
Sharon, whatever. Yeah. I don't
Ryan Day. I feel like Ohio State would just burn the award in his hand.
That's not happening.
James Franklin's not.
James Franklin. I mean, you can make the case 2 10-win seasons in a row is a good thing. I don't think it's worthy of Coach of the Year. This man took over a team in pretty much August that had just fired a coach and uncovered all these terrible things and somehow has guided them to a winning record and being bowl eligible.
That's fair. But you still have Ferentz in the way too.
That's true.
No, I don't think the Big Ten wants to put him forward as the Coach of the Year.
He cried when Iowa won their last game, by the way. And in my mind, all I could think was because he knows, holy crap, we're on a Big Ten championship, but after that, I have to fire my son.
Well, his son's already fired. They've already said that's happening.
Well, yeah,
he didn't do it.
No, I know, but like, I think like you could like it'd be cool to coach with your son and like, but knowing that these are the last few games, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's my case.
Great season.
That's my case.
Iowa beats Nebraska 13-10, and the under hits
20. It got down to 24.5.
At kickoff, it was what?
It depended on the book. There was a 24.5 pregame line.
Jeez, ow.
Still
all right. Iowa goes to their Big Ten championship. Penn State mollywops Michigan State in what I think they found their stride a little bit as far as the quarterback.
They started to throw the ball down the field.
But like they were subbing the quarterbacks in and out.
Yeah, but that's not. I don't expect that to happen terribly much. Here's the biggest problem with with Penn State's offense is they were still running the Sean Clifford, Trace McSorley offense with Drew Aller, who is not them.
You said that before. I agree with that.
So that was the biggest thing. So Mike Yurcich was not able to adapt to the different personnel that they brought in. And they finally let Drew Aller uncork the ball down the field. He's got an absolute rock of an arm. I'm not saying that he's going to be accurate all the time, but if he just starts tossing them up there and they get some guys to run after him, they're going to run into one sooner or later. And they did a couple times in this game. So
you need to pick up some weapons in recruiting, though.
Yeah, at the wide receiver position.
Yeah,
tight ends aren't running 50 yards down the field to catch a ball.
Right. And then lastly in the Big Ten, Michigan beat Ohio State 30-24.
I tried to soften the blow for you.
Nah, it is what it is. They beat Ohio State. Muff wants my thoughts. This is what I think. I think that for the last 3 years, the team has not come amped. They don't have a chip on their shoulder. Okay? They're not it. Ryan Day is not your hype man. He jumps around looking like the dad who's trying hard, but I don't believe he's the hype man. Okay. And the quarterback play was that kid.
They put up 24 points on a top-rated defense.
That kid's garbage.
He's garbage.
That kid is.
I think that's probably a stretch.
I'll walk that back.
He's garbage.
That kid is a head case.
Okay.
He gets rattled. It takes him forever to settle in. He just not it. Now, there were missed tackles. Tommy Eichenberg was a non-factor missing tackles. They didn't have their defense didn't look as good as it has all year. Is that the fault of coaching on the defensive side? I'm not blaming Mr. Knowles.
Well,
he held them to like 100 total or 150 total yards. I don't know what the yardage was, but it was still good.
I feel like if they're there in the
total
right
yards,
yeah,
338.
What is it rushing?
156.
Yeah, that was the stat we're bragging about. Like, hey, you held them from rolling all over you. You've improved.
So I think that, I guess in my opinion, if the person's in the position to make the tackle, it's not a coaching issue at that point. It's a player issue if you didn't make it. Like a coach can play.
No. Yes, I agree with that. Yes. That last drive, the very last drive where Michigan scored and it took 6 minutes off the clock with 8 minutes left. He's played not to lose, or he played the same defense he's been playing, like don't let anything get behind you.
Yeah.
And I think they should have attacked more. I mean, you need to get the ball back and you need time. But I'm not a coach, so I can't fault the guy.
Ryan Day.
As far as Ryan Day. And I said this to Muff before we started the show. John Cooper was fired, the guy before Tressel, because of multiple in a row losses to the team up north. Okay.
Can we say that yet? Are you allowed to say the word yet?
I'm grieving. Okay.
Okay.
Grieving.
Fair enough. I didn't know the rules. That's why I was curious.
He had stellar teams. He had NFL quality players, just like Ryan Day does, but he couldn't get the job done against Michigan. Cool. Is it the same as Ryan Day? My official stance is no. Ryan Day is not John Cooper. Ryan Day is a fantastic coach. Do I want Ryan Day fired? No. Because, like Muff and I said, who the hell do you replace him with?
Who are we getting?
Urban Meyer.
Now, glad you brought that up. Former players for Ohio State have thrown out names like Jim Tressel, like Urban Meyer, like Mike Vrabel. They want an Ohio born and bred coach that they feel understands the rivalry. Maurice Claret went so far as to say, please look him up on Twitter, I want Urban, I'm summarizing, despite his wild antics, I don't really care about his wild antics as long as he beats Michigan.
I think it's crazy, and I mean, I guess I get to an extent, but how funny it is that you would fire a coach who's awesome because he doesn't win a game. But do you know what I mean? Like how much?
It just so happens that over the past 4 to 5 years, and definitely the past 3 years, this game has decided a lot.
I mean, Urban won 7 in a row. Jim Tressel won 5, only lost 1.
Because it was the whole Jim Harbaugh couldn't beat Ohio State for a while.
Right. And so now you got this poor guy who's not getting it done. Well, we're going to negate the fact they've been to the playoffs 3 of the 4 years he's been there, maybe. Like, with a chance to maybe go in this year. Here's the ultimate shitty situation. Like, this is where I would say fire him. Okay.
Okay.
Ohio State, Michigan both make the playoffs. At the end of the year, end of the day, those two are playing each other for the national championship or to move on. And he gets beat again.
Now you want his ass.
Now I feel like, all right, wait, something's wrong.
What I mean, What if Michigan's just been better? What if Michigan's just been better?
He can't win the big one.
What if Michigan's just better right now?
I don't think they are. I don't.
You just said that you have, I'm not going to say dog shit, you have a lackluster quarterback with
we have
NFL weapons with one or two
right.
NFL quality receivers.
I would dare say 3 or 4, but sure.
I mean, I don't know if you got 3 or 4 right now. You may have 3 or 4. You have 2 for sure. You have 2 for sure right now. Like, I won't dispute that. And I mean, Michigan has an offensive line that probably most of them are going to wind up in the NFL. They have a running back who's a top tier running back, and they have a defense that's tough. Like,
I don't know, Muff.
I understand that you're grieving and you want this to be true, but maybe Michigan's just better right now.
I can't. I'm not going to do that at all. And again, if you get a shot at Michigan again this year and you don't get it done, I still say your seat better be very, very hot. Very. Some other things that Columbus is missing that we just totally negate are Gene Smith's gone after this year as the AD.
Mm-hmm.
So a new athletic director is going to come in there. Do you think he wants to start with a brand new coach?
No.
No. So if Michigan can hang on to Harbaugh for as many years as he lost, and now he's on the upswing, Ohio State have some freaking patience. Is my take on that.
But will they? That's the question, right?
He won't make it 4. That town will burn. Will burn.
So I'm not going to get into it. We talked about the Roman Wilson comment, which you've already had something to say about. Jim, you on Twitter were didn't seem to be very excited about the pregame dancing routine that Ohio State.
No, this whole thing they're doing. Again, I'm glad you brought this up. Kyle McCord was interviewed the week of the game and was like, "Hey, how do you feel about this rivalry?" He's like, "Well, the rivalry is important to people. The implications are important. End of the day, it's just a game." Ryan Day has failed you. Someone has failed you to show the importance of this game. 2, to see you come out there doing the worst dance, and he's done it every week, but to see him come out there during this game and not look like he wants to kill somebody, huge problem for me.
Maybe this is the problem. Maybe the pressure that the rest of the world puts on these teams for this game. Understandably, there's a tradition. It's a rivalry. This is rivalry week. Like, this is what you expect out of this. But in the end, I mean, it is still a game.
Mm.
It is still a game that the people outside may be making a little bit more deal than the people inside. And that may be an issue. They should be hyping it up to the players. They should be excited. It should be something that they appreciate and get hyped for. But these are still 18 to 22-year-olds playing football.
Sorry, bud. No. And I'll go back to Ryan Day, comparing him to Urban Meyer. When the week started for Urban Meyer, it was, this shit is life and death.
But it's not. That's what I'm saying.
I understand that. I get what you're saying. Like, logically, it's just a game. I get it. But that dog pressure cooker, we're going to rip their heads off mentality is what's lacking from this team. Michigan comes out for the 3rd year now. They've won 2. They're without their coach. They're favorites in their home place, and they played like they were underdogs. They played scrappy, smash mouth, end of the play, I'll push you a little bit. Now, there was no fighting, and I'm not saying they were dirty at all, but they made Ohio State know they were there.
Mm-hmm.
That's not happening at Ohio State. Yes, it's just a game. I'll give you that. But it's more important than any other game you've played. Act like it.
All right, moving on. Enough Ohio State talk. I don't know if that put Jim's blood pressure up, if we have a health scare going on right now, but
right.
That's why he needed a drink to keep him. It's like an up or down. If you were going to get him up, they needed the drink to bring
down. Georgia beats Georgia Tech 31-23. I didn't see any of this game.
I did not either, actually.
I mean, Georgia Tech put up a fight. I mean, they were in there the whole game.
One-score game.
This was one of those rivalry games that fits the billing. You expect Georgia to do what they're supposed to do, is at Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech's coach and their players, they didn't back down. So
yeah,
it was just one of those old-fashioned games.
Washington beats Washington State 24-21. Washington's kicker gets a scholarship after hitting a game-winning field goal
in the locker room after the game.
Someone brought up if they were planning to give him a scholarship, like, what if you would have missed it?
Wow.
They probably would have secretly given it to him after. I'm like,
probably wouldn't have been as hyped.
Yeah. I don't think Washington's a good team at all.
Wait, so you think Georgia's a good team for losing by 1 score to Georgia Tech, but you don't think that Washington's a good team for losing by 1 score to Washington State?
Who had been ranked much of the year.
Yeah, I don't. I think Oregon wallops them this time around.
Well, we get to see it, right? This is the ultimate. Excited. We get to see it.
That's the game I'll be focused on. I think Oregon, and I'm going to skip straight to the Oregon State game. Oregon 31, Oregon State 7. Oregon looked like a team possessed. Like they were. I like that coach because he has his guys very professional. Like it's a serious business type game.
Very business.
All of them. It's very business. Matter of fact.
Well, I mean, they're led by a 24-year-old.
I love it.
AKA Bo Nix.
Also,
which Penix. let's real quick. Bo Nix, what was Auburn doing? Right? He transferred from Auburn. What?
Yeah.
Well, he's had a lot of years to practice and to get to this point.
I get this, but like the past 2 years, Auburn screwed up.
Yeah. Penix couldn't get his head out of the cart. He was so emotional he wanted to throw up or something.
After the game, yeah.
Even after the kick, I get it. All right, I can't watch. I'm going to bury my head and pray. Cool. You just won, and you have to be walked out of that Washington game with your head covered and a coach walking you.
At least it was after a win. It's not a Caleb Williams situation.
You're not wrong.
Right, and Penix has had, right? He's had like 2 ACLs. Like he's one of those 25-year-old quarterbacks.
But you won.
I get it. I'm just saying that it has been an emotional journey for him. I would have expected a little bit more jubilation in the celebration of this. So I'm not sure.
Relief.
Yeah.
All right. Florida State beats Florida 24-15. Florida player ejected for spitting on another player. Florida State, there's videos circulating of them cutting the turf after the game. Cops had to go in and stop them from damaging it further.
You said cutting the turf, like trying to get their own piece, or?
Yeah, scissors, snip, 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 taking a picture. I have the piece of a turf.
Wait,
it's a rivalry game, man. I don't know what to say.
Florida State did this or Florida?
Florida State did it. Like they beat the Gators in the swamp. They were taking a piece of that swamp home.
You got to collect their trophy.
That's wild.
That's like college stuff. That's not like, I thought you meant like vandalizing it just to be assholes for the rivalry thing. It's still wrong.
That turf ain't cheap, brother.
I said it's still wrong. It's just like, okay, that puts it in a different light for me than just going in and like scraping it up just to be a dick.
No, they were taking the trophy home.
I'm still again, not saying it's right, but I could see myself have done that.
What do we think about Florida State against Louisville?
I mean, Louisville's not coming in hot either.
Lost to Kentucky. They were leading most of that game.
I know. By like a touchdown.
And let it.
I think Kentucky's won like 2 or 3 in a row in that one.
I don't. Mm-hmm.
So what do we think? I mean, if Florida State's found a way to get it done so far, I think it's going to be. I expect it to be a competitive game. I think this is one of those like this could come down to a last possession, and we're all going to love it.
And I think that, but then you have the issue of Florida State wins. What do you do with them without Jordan Travis?
Put him in.
I agree. I mean, if you're
I do too,
if you're an undefeated Power 5 champion, like you should have this opportunity. Now you might fall flat on your face in this first game, but you still did it.
Well, I think it's the same thing with TCU last year.
Right.
You had to give them the chance.
I don't see why you wouldn't. That's next year we have the 12, then we can sort the rest of the mess out.
They put up like a mock, like if there was 12, like top 12 right now, and I was like,
yeah,
so good.
Yeah. Now
fun.
It's gonna come down to politicking. let's say Florida State is 4, Ohio State is 5. There's going to be who's the better team, who has the blah 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 blah.
Just
maybe.
That was just a hot
with or without Kyle McCord.
I think they're equivalent.
But Kyle McCord is like the Florida State's backup right now. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, Texas beats the hell out of Texas Tech 57-7.
We needed that.
Texas should be in.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
If they beat Oklahoma State next week, I agree for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if they beat them bad.
Is it Oklahoma State?
Yes.
Wow.
Because Oklahoma State won. They knocked out and they beat Oklahoma. So if BYU would have won that game, it'd have been Oklahoma. Since Oklahoma State won, it's them.
Huh. Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah, that game meant a lot for both teams. BYU to be bowl eligible, or Oklahoma State to go to the Big 12 championship.
Lots going on.
All right. Number 8, Alabama. Squeaks by, gets lucky, uses the dark side to beat Auburn 27-24.
I felt so bad for Auburn. Nick Saban was actually funny. He's like, crazy things happen in this game all the time. He goes, I'm just glad that this one finally went my way.
I mean, he has been on the wrong side of that before.
Oh, I know.
I mean, this is one of those, like, defensively is you just didn't put your people in the right position. Like, somebody, I don't know, let me phrase that. Either the defensive coordinator needs to be looked at, and how did you not have this area covered well? Or defensively, somebody just totally screwed up an assignment.
That's exactly what happened. There was 2 guys back there, and one guy bailed out when he should have stayed home.
Right. Having a one-on-one matchup in the corner of the end zone whenever you're only rushing 2 or 3 players, that can't happen.
Yep. That was bad.
But, I mean, Bama did what Bama does, right? They figured it out.
Yep.
Oh, I felt terrible for Auburn.
You're a big feeler today.
I know. The rivalry week, man.
Well, I mean, he's matching your emotions, Jim.
I like Auburn though. Like they're always kind of like one of my teams I root for. So
number 9, Missouri wins 48-14 against Arkansas. Go ahead, Muff. Take this little nugget away.
All right, we're talking about college football, where we always want the storyline. We want the feel good story. We want to be able to get behind the underdog. We want to be able to make big things happen. Why aren't we talking more as a collective media about Missouri running back Corey Schrader? He's leading the FBS in rushing yards. He transferred from a D2 school to be with Missouri this year. Started as like RB6, worked his way up to RB1, leads the nation in rushing prior to conference championship weekend. Like, how do we not? I'm not saying he deserves to be in like the Heisman discussion, because it's not like he's got a 2,000-yard season. He does not. He has like 1,500 yards. But why is this not a national storyline? I mean, Missouri is a top 10 team. Why do we not talk about him more?
I agree. I'm with you on that one.
Alex, you've been on Missouri the whole time.
I was going to say, I don't think we talk about Missouri enough as a whole. I mean, I have no doubt. I think Drinkwitz should be the SEC Coach of the Year. If we're talking Coach of the Year.
Okay.
You could have made the argument for Saban if he'd have roared back, but I think after that last Auburn game, I think it knocks him down behind him.
We're not talking about Kirby?
No. He has a great team.
Give it to him again?
No, I just think he has a great team. I think for me, like if you're looking at coaching of the year, it's more of a Missouri award. I think that we're not talking about the running back, and I think that if this was next year and there were 12 teams, this would be a team you should worry about.
Don't disagree.
That's what peace.
Peace.
Stay tuned.
Ole Miss beats Mississippi State 17-7. Good game.
Yeah,
I liked it.
Still with Lane? You still ride with Lane, Jim, after Jackson Dart gets tossed out there after being knocked unconscious?
Let me tell you, I'm glad you brought that up because I had forgotten. Let me tell you, I watched that game. Watch that kid get hit in the face. You could see his eyeballs. They were closed. He was sleeping. He gets up and you're going, all right, he ain't coming back. They put him back in the game and it was like, oh, he shook it off. The hell he did. Like, he was out.
It's rivalry week. Rivalry week.
It should be a suspension for whoever let him back in. He was,
I don't disagree.
I mean, it was night. It was clear as day. Like, boom, done, out.
It's the medical degenerate. I do not condone that choice.
That was horrible.
It's like at this point, college football has to decide: are we going to spend money on the speaker in the helmet? Or are we going to spend money to have an independent neuro consultant at every game?
Give me the neuro consultant after that shit. I'm telling you, he fell and I looked at Joe and went, he's out, gone. And like,
what did they try to wrap it around? What type of injury?
I don't know. I couldn't remember, but I know that as he's walking off, the commentator's like, oh, he's wobbly. No shit. He just got knocked out. Anyway, Oklahoma beats TCU 69-45.
Big 12, baby.
God. LSU beats Texas A&M 42-30. Alex, you want to talk about this one, bud?
Yes, WVU beats Baylor 34-31. Honestly, WVU, first of all, I will say, started off the game, their running back Reese come 2 back-to-back kickoff returns for touchdowns. Kudos to him, 93, 95 yards or something.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only reason they were even in this game. At that point, everyone's like, holy smokes, WVU would be eating the brakes off this team for 14 points off them. All of a sudden, WVU decides we don't actually remember how to play football when we come out of the locker room. There was some kind of flashbang in the locker room at halftime, I'm pretty sure, that erased their memories of how to play football. And they forgot until the last 3 minutes of the game. And then they remembered all of a sudden and they were able to play again. So I had terrible PTSD because we go down, we score a touchdown to take the lead. And then we come back and there's a play. First of all, I see Garrett Green doing his Garrett Green thing over there, being a little wild control with his celebration. I'm like, holy shit, he's going to get a 15-yard penalty again, just like last time. And he didn't, thankfully. And then they had a Hail Mary, and I was going to throw up. I couldn't watch. But it was okay. They didn't get to throw off. We were good.
So, Alex, the season, right?
Bowl eligible?
This is a season for WVU.
We're 8-4.
Nice.
I also want to bring up at this time that I don't want to take Jim's money because there was a bet that if WVU finished in the top 10, that he owed me $5.
Are they in the top 10?
This win solidified that they would be in the top 5. And that actually, if
in the country, or
no, this was of the Big 12. This was of the Big 12. That was your bet, Jim.
If they would have won against Houston, and if they wouldn't have played like dog poop against Oklahoma State and had a chance to win that game, just based on like they truly lost that one because they played poorly. Oklahoma blew them out. Penn State, obvious win. I'll even get the Oklahoma State game out of the way. But Houston, I mean, there's a chance they would be in conversation for like Big 12 title game.
Isn't everybody?
From literally predicted to be dead last. So you know what, Neil Brown?
I'm sorry. Getting my money now. You're not getting my money now.
You can have my flower. You can have your flowers.
Nope. Jim has to pay Alex $5 now.
I don't want the money.
Because of what Jim has done now.
I don't want the money. I wanted Jim to say that WVU had a good season. Or $5.
I'll pay you $5.
Okay, that's fine. I give you an out there.
There it is.
No, and I'll still pay you $5. But WVU had a good season, a good run.
And you know what I did? I ripped on Neil Brown. He's still not my favorite coach of all time. But after this season, I don't know that he deserves to be. He doesn't deserve to be fired. He deserves, after having a good season, to come back and have another chance. If you have another good season, you're officially on a less hot seat. Now, if you start next season sucking ass, I'm right back on the fire Neil Brown train. But clearly he's doing something right and making progress.
Okay.
And guess who has the last laugh between Houston and WVU?
Because they're firing Dana, right?
Dana's getting fired. He's already been fired, so. If Alex didn't know that, I figured Alex would be happy.
Hey. Goodbye. The only thing I'm sad about is we don't get like Revenge on Dana tour.
He'll probably coach somewhere that you'll play.
Yeah, that's true at some point. But
he could be the next A&M coach.
I'm pleased with the WV season. I'm excited to see who we get in a bowl game. I'd like for it to be a good team. I want to be the underdog in a bowl game, and if we can get an upset and in a bowl game that we're the underdogs of, I'll feel really good about the end of it. You know what I mean?
Quick question.
Could you imagine Dana on the sideline at A&M with that hair?
No.
No.
Quick question for you, Alex. Before we move on.
Yes.
Nick Saban hires Dana, makes him a consultant or whatever. What is your gut reaction at that moment?
I don't know how you can be a West Virginia boy, quote unquote, and hire Dana Holgorsen. I'd be disappointed. I claim Nick Saban as a West Virginian. I would be disappointed. I wouldn't be mad. I'd be disappointed.
Okay.
I don't know if Dana fits the bill as the consultant.
Lane did.
Nick and Dana would kill each other.
Lane
is way
did.
more put together than Dana.
But Dana's getting fired because he sucked.
That's true. At least Lane's disheveledness.
Lane got fired because
Lane makes bad choices.
I can't remember which job he got fired from.
Well, I think it was the one that he was making bad personal choices that may have led to some lackluster performance, but he was pinned on the other stuff. Bill O'Brien, right, fired NFL coach, comes back. Like, I don't know if Dana meets the bill for Nick to bring him in.
We'll see. Maryland's coach was brought in that way. We'll see. All right, we'll get to let's go to the conference championship games now that this is over. Georgia and Alabama for the SEC. ACC is Florida State, Louisville. Big Ten is Iowa versus Michigan.
Well, first, real quick, it's like a 20-some point spread.
22.5.
And Iowa's team total over under is set at 6.5.
Gonna be ugly. Gonna be ugly. All right. The Pac, Washington versus Oregon. But let's not forget Washington State and Oregon State have been given the go-ahead to be a 2-team conference next year for the Pac. Okay.
Just wanted to make sure everybody knew this is the last Pac-12 championship that we know of, except for the fact that the next 2 years you may still have it.
Yeah.
Don't know if they'll be classified as Power 5 conference anymore.
No. Big 12 is Texas versus Oklahoma State. Conference USA is New Mexico versus Liberty.
Liberty.
AAC is SMU versus Tulane. The MAC, Miami versus Toledo. Mountain West, Boise State versus UNLV. And the Sun Belt, App versus Troy.
Them's the conference championships that I could find. I don't know if there's any other ones left.
Probably some of the most. There's only 2 games out of all those that are going to be like, all right, I'll watch those.
That's it?
Yeah.
You're not going to watch them action? Or is that
I'll watch that, but if is it a Thursday game, I'm hoping?
Friday.
Yeah, I'll probably watch that because there's nothing else on.
Friday is Pac-12 and
the MAC.
MAC, I think.
All right. So let's break it down. Who are your top 4?
Right now.
Your top 4. And we should be clear on this before you get loose. Top 4 teams that should go to the playoff, not who do we think the top 4 best teams in the country.
That's what I was just going to ask, clarifying.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my top 4 right now before conference championships.
To go in right now.
Georgia.
Yeah.
Michigan.
Yeah.
Washington, Florida State.
Before the championship go Georgia, Michigan, Washington. This is might be a homer take, and I don't even mean to be Texas. Over Florida State.
Because of the quarterback thing?
Yes. And then I think after
Texas is playing with their third string quarterback?
No, not anymore. Quinn Ewers is back.
Oh, okay.
So, and that's the reason that I do that this week. If it was backup versus backup, I'd leave Florida State. I think after the championship week, am I allowed to comment on that?
Yeah,
we will.
I agree with Muff's take on that. So yeah, go ahead.
Georgia, Michigan, Oregon, Texas.
I mean, Texas, I will say Texas has one of the best losses, if you're going to say that. Right? Ohio State and Texas, I think, have the best losses as 1-win teams.
They lost to Oklahoma.
Oregon's got that.
Oregon's in if they beat Washington.
No.
Yes.
So they're not. They're 3. Georgia, Michigan, Oregon. We're all arguing over, or we're all trying to discuss the 4 spot.
So Washington, Florida State, Ohio State, Texas.
Yeah. I think Washington's out after they lose to Oregon.
I mean, it would be interesting what their position is going into this week.
Can you say that Ohio State's lost to Michigan? Washington would have lost to Oregon.
2 so versus
have
3.
A loss. I mean,
I don't think Washington or Oregon were in the.
But Oregon beat Washington also beat Oregon at one point, so they split with Oregon.
I think Washington drops out.
I think it's just for Washington, it's the unfortunate of when your loss happened.
Yep.
Right. That's just the reality of you had the opportunity to put yourself in.
I just think that the argument that they can make is saying we also beat them at one point.
I agree that that's an argument you can make, but you didn't beat them when it counted. That's the flip side of it.
Florida State wins their championship. It's hard to say that Texas. Well, it's easier to say Texas should go in above them. Real hard for Ohio State to make a claim at all.
Yeah, assuming Texas wins. Yeah. As a one loss conference champion.
Yeah, I think they go in.
Yeah, because I mean they're in their conference championship games, not a walk in the park with Oklahoma State.
Right.
But I still say it's from my 4 spots either going to be Texas, Ohio State, Florida State, unless Florida State loses. Florida State has it.
Yeah, I think there's danger that Florida State could lose.
No,
definitely. So who's our number 1 right now?
Georgia.
So Michigan does not jump them, beating the number 2 team from the playoff rankings last week.
Yeah, I think
as an undefeated team.
Nope.
I think they should.
I can see the argument that they should.
I think that they should. I honestly don't think that the college football playoff is going to allow Michigan to be a number 1 ranked team going into the playoff. No.
Michigan has better wins.
Unless Georgia loses in the conference championship.
I think.
Which they also could. I think Bama could get Georgia.
If precedent has said anything, the 1 spot is reserved for the best team in the nation. I think that's how the committee looks at it.
Mm-hmm.
Best team in the nation. Georgia. 2, I think, is debatable sometimes. I'm not saying this year. I think 2 they debate, but I think they go who's up next.
Right.
And they go Michigan. Then 3 and 4 gets kind of muddy. Because then it comes down to well, who did they play? Florida State, I think, hasn't played anybody worth a shit.
I agree.
So that in my mind, if that's the logic you're going to use, Florida State is out.
I understand that's the logic that's probably going to go into play. And the Jordan Travis thing does not help anything. Right? No. Jordan Travis is in there. That's probably not even a discussion. Unbeaten ACC champion with Jordan Travis. Yeah.
They're not going to put 2 Pac teams in. They're just not. With the Pac being disassembled.
No.
So I think it comes down to Texas and Ohio State. I'd be cool with Georgia, Michigan, Texas, Ohio State. That would be awesome. We're not going to get that.
In what world does that even potentially happen?
I understand. I'm telling you, fantasy booking here. I would like to see those 4 teams in.
Right. Washington, Oregon gets in over whoever the 4 is there.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
But fan-wise, take my money. I want to see these games. Give me Ohio State and Georgia in the semi. Give me Michigan and Texas in the semi. And then whoever that shakes out, go. Pause for the cause. Go downstairs.
Right. That's the fantasy billing for the college football playoff and their ratings.
Yeah. That's not what's going to happen, but that's what I would like to see. Because can you imagine a Georgia versus Texas? Michigan versus Texas? Both of those sound like fun to me.
Those just sound like probably the most epic TV ratings.
Yeah. And that's college football.
Whoa, Heisman.
I'm trying to get Alex out of here. Read your text message, bud. He's got places to be.
I do. I'll let you guys talk about it, but I am going to.
Good to see you. Go save
Duty,
lives.
duty calls.
Go save lives, my friend.
Okay, just in case I'm gone forever, peace and blessings.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, the Heisman. Bo Nix is the front runner right now at minus 180 in the betting books.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels at plus 140, which is interesting after this past week that they flipped. Right? I don't think that I think Bo Nix should have been the front runner for the past few weeks, but it's interesting that flipped. I think this is just anticipating what's going to happen in the conference championship.
I think the outcome of Ohio State took Marv way out of it.
Mm-hmm. He wasn't even on like the top 8 in the betting odds that I saw.
Yeah, he's out.
So I think this is where it should be, right? I was hyping up Jaden Daniels, but ultimately I knew he wasn't going to have a conference championship, so he's probably going to get forced out.
I think Bo Nix wins this thing if he comes out and does what he did to Oregon State to Washington.
Like I think even if that's competitive game, as long as he doesn't throw like 3+ interceptions, I think he wins.
I think Penix can sneak in.
Oh, he definitely could. I mean, as far as like, again, looking at betting odds, Penix is like plus 1,000 or 1,500. Like it's not even close right now. So some things I found are just interesting. This is just comparative. So, I mean, this does not stake as much as to the importance to a team overall. But Washington wide receiver Rome Odunze potentially could be in the discussion for best wide receiver if you're looking at the Biletnikoff Award. He has more yards and receptions than Marvin Harrison, has 1 less touchdown. And then Malik Neighbors from LSU has the same number of touchdowns as Harrison with more yards and receptions. So I think the Biletnikoff Award is probably going to be one of the more interesting to see how this ends up.
If you're going to do it on this year,
mm-hmm.
and this year alone, like the performance that you've given this year, I don't think Marv gets it.
Right.
If you base it solely on that. Now, if you want to base it on the quality of a receiver with like the it factor that makes your team go, yeah, okay. I'll give it to Marv. He catches amazing passes. He's like a magician out there. But that doesn't win you awards, man. Like
no, it doesn't.
So
yes, I just wanted because that was interesting to me. I did not realize this until I saw some like random clip of Ndunze, like a thing. I was like, huh. I was like, now I'm just curious overall. Like, what does this look like in the big picture? I mean, those are the two that stood out. So we got that. In other college football news, James Madison and Jacksonville State are going to find the ways to bowls this year. Both are within that 2-year probation period. James Madison in their 2nd year, Jacksonville State in their 1st year.
Good. I'm happy. That makes me very happy.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say the show did it.
I'm in.
Do you want to
talk about Mel Tucker, Jim?
No. What did I miss about Mel? What did he do?
Something that you shared with the email.
Oh yeah. So the AD was looking to get rid of Mel Tucker before the season. Now, there's debate on the why he didn't. I mean, some say he just didn't like him. Others say he had early rumblings about what they actually fired Mel for, the sexual harassment. That gets sticky in that if the AD knew and let that whole season tick on, the whole preseason recruiting, and then fired Mel later, not okay. Like you're saying, I have a not proven, but I have a deviant on my campus and I'm gonna let it ride.
Well, the investigation was still playing out at that point. At least the Title IX investigation, yeah.
I guess. I still would have let him go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at that point is what are we if you're trying to fire for cause, it's probably the buyout.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you're holding on to for.
Yeah.
If you held on to that. You still wouldn't have to pay him all that money. And you thought that this is the way it was going to play out. So you're like, yeah, we're going to hold on to this. So when it actually goes down, we can be like, gone. And we can save all those millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Virginia, the Cavaliers play the old 19th at 9 trick on the Hokies after the rivalry game, as Virginia Tech went out after the game to take a picture on the field, only to have the sprinklers turned on by the Cavaliers faithful. That's
Love
pretty
it.
funny.
Love it.
If you're talking about rivalry game stuff, this is it.
Love it.
Like, this is the tongue-in-cheek funny stuff that, 5 years down the road you can laugh at.
Yeah.
But at the time you're kind of pissed off.
Yeah.
Northwestern unveiled their $800 million stadium drawings, which it looks pretty cool. But all I
Sure.
really want to know is what type of grass we're going to have. It's going to be long.
Natural. Yeah. Long.
It's going to be the long grass that we're used to. We can discuss some betting strategy about.
I'm cool with it. I think they have better uses for $800 million though, but education for their players. Better compliance office.
That's the one. I think in Northwestern, their players get a decent education.
Apparently not when they're acting like turds in the locker room, playing naked slingshot.
That's decency. That's the compliance and the decency. Different education factors. All right, and that wraps up college football, which brings us into other interesting news in sports.
Interesting news in sports.
Starting in college basketball, Jacksonville took on Robert Morris over the weekend, and they had a bench clearing brawl that had all of the players but those that were on the court. This was like into a timeout.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was ejected aside from the 5 players from each team that were on the court, leaving each team with only those 5 to finish the game. Jacksonville, if I remember correctly, won by like 5-10, something in that. After the game, the coaches didn't shake hands, and Jacksonville's players walked off the court without the handshake. Boom, and the other team just stood there.
Yeah.
Okay. This was an actual melee. There were haymakers. The coaches were in the middle of it, trying to get in the middle of it. It was a good old fashioned fight. So it's always interesting, right? Because they get all those players on the bench get ejected because they left the bench. So only the players that were on the court get to stay because it was benches cleared brawl.
I like it.
Yep. New Mexico State only finished their game over the weekend against Louisville with 4 players after all their other players fouled out in an overtime loss. This happens like once a year, maybe once or twice a year. It's always interesting.
That's wild.
Yeah. Which brings us into the NHL, where Alexander Ovechkin had some things to say to the league and its new talent about him and Sidney Crosby. I quote, we saved the league. Now they come in, and I guess world news, but we saved it. It's up to those guys to come in and prove me wrong that we're not the best. We saved the NHL. Jim, how do you feel about Ovechkin's comments?
I like it. I don't know the validity and truth behind it, but I like it. That's a man who knows his value.
Which part? That they save the NHL?
And come in and prove me wrong. I like that.
You like it? Yeah, I mean, Ovechkin and Crosby did come into the point in the league whenever things were kind of in the basement, and they were hoping, right, that the Crosby was the main billing, and Ovechkin was the foil to Crosby in their careers. So I do think they had a lot to bring continued value, right? The Stadium Series, that was a big thing. Mm-hmm. So, all right, come and take it, boys. Come and take it.
I'm cool with that.
Marc-Andre Fleury thumbed his nose at the NHL as he wore a mask to honor Native American Heritage Month after the NHL said it was against league policy, specifically of players wearing specialty equipment on theme nights. Fleury did not end up wearing his specialty mask during warm-ups. He was not the starting goaltender in this one. And the NHL had said if he wore it on the ice, there would be a fine to him and potentially a significant fine to the organization. They walked all of that back and just said, okay, we're not going to do anything to you, buddy.
Okay.
Grandstanding gone wrong by the NHL in this case.
NHL's a fickle bitch.
It's like sometimes you're like, you're doing the right thing, NHL. And then something like this comes out and you're like, but why?
Yeah.
It's a new policy this year, apparently, like this whole specialty equipment thing. It's like you can only wear what we say that you can wear or what's been approved.
Yeah, it's weird. Whatever. Why don't we protect against throats being slashed? Let's do that.
Well, that wasn't in the NHL.
It's hockey.
It is hockey. Moving on to Jim's favorite sport, basketball. In the professional leagues, Greg Popovich took the mic during a game in San Antonio last week when fans started to boo Kawhi Leonard, who now plays for the Clippers, telling everyone to stop booing. Don't do this. This isn't us. Jim, was this a step too far for Mr. Popovich?
There's two ways to look at that. I think it's very classy and a very much pop move. I could see why fans are like, shut up. You brought us here to hype your team and cause a ruckus. Now you're stopping me. So I see it both ways.
Yeah, it was just interesting. It was like pretty much in the middle of the game. This wasn't even during a timeout. Kawhi Leonard had just made a free throw, I believe. And he was even like, what's happening right now? So I think Greg took it a step too far. I think like fans are fans. They're booing. This is normal fan behavior. Would you do this against anybody else? I get it. He has a history in San Antonio, but guess what? He's not there now. Do what you got to do.
I agree with that.
All right. And this last one was you, buddy.
James Dolan has resigned from the NBA board committee positions. He's essentially given up his rights, or tried to give up his rights to voting within the league. Now his legal counsel is going to take care of it. He feels that the league neither needs nor wants his opinion. No shit, James, you're an idiot.
James is the Knicks owner.
I hate James Dolan.
You hate him. All right. Any other news to chat about in the sports world?
No, man. Time to start hibernation.
No questions for Muff.
No questions for Muff.
All right. That brings us to the end of this week's episode. If you're watching on YouTube, this whole time we didn't introduce it, but Nate is Derek Ho, I believe is how you pronounce the name. No idea. Nate went to see a show tonight where Derek Ho was the lead. So way to go, Nate.
Good job.
Way to be a good son.
Culture.
That's it. So as always, make sure you tell somebody about what we've got on here. Continue to let us cook. Hopefully we don't get blocked, banned, or discredited for any of our upcoming takes.
We'll see.
I'll discredit I'm okay with.
Right.
Blocked or banned. And to make sure that it gets to all those ears, even the ones we don't want to hear them, make sure that you tell a friend, make a friend, be a friend.